Hey guys, Richard here with Downgrid Survival. It's another beautiful morning. I am out again because I need to go buy a wax toilet ring. If you know what a wax toilet ring is, smash that like button now for me. If you've ever changed a wax toilet ring, smash that like button now. Tell you what, there's nothing fun about changing a wax toilet ring, but when you got a little leaky going on around the toilet, you gotta do it. It's a messy job, but hey, I'm up for it. Hey, let's talk about a couple of things. Now, yesterday I put out a rant, and we were just talking about a lot of different things. And in that video, I mentioned strategic oil reserves a little bit. If you missed that video, go look for it, or maybe I'll try to put a link up in the cards. But basically, I just kind of mentioned the strategic oil reserves and how good old Joe is giving away all of our oil. Coincidentally, last night, sometime yesterday evening, a report came out talking about the strategic oil reserves. So I felt it warranted a fresh new video talking about some specifics. Now, if you're not familiar with the strategic oil reserves, basically, in 1973, OPEC, all the global elites, oil elites, I guess I should say, they decided to place an embargo on the United States. Now, I don't recall, I won't tell you how old I was, but I was quite young, so I wasn't aware of exactly why that happened, but basically they stopped selling oil to the United States, and it created an oil crisis here. Okay, and oil just shot up through the roof and crazy prices. So President Ford at the time decided that we needed a plan for that, and so in '75 he signed legislation that created basically the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, SPR. A lot of people just refer to it as the oil reserves. And basically now we have up to 713 million barrels of oil that can be stored, for our use in the event that we hit another oil crisis. And it's primarily reserved for military use for wartime, right? Because all of our ships and equipment and everything uses diesel fuel, and we need gasoline to be able to fight wars in the event that something terrible were to happen, and then of course to supplement the economy a little bit and help keep the economy moving should we face an oil crisis. All these oil reserves most of them are in 4 different salt mines along the Gulf Coast, so very deep salt mines, like 2,500 feet or something, I don't know, really deep caverns. And this is where all this crude oil is stored. And upon the presidential order that says release some oil from the reserves, it takes a total of about 13 days to get the oil out, transported, and refined and into the marketplace. So, just a little history there. So, to kind of give you an idea of just how much oil we're talking about, sorry I got the sun in the back again there, how much oil we're talking about. 713 million barrels of oil could fill 1.3 billion large sedans. Okay, so if you think about how many cars are running around in the country right now, I don't know how many cars there are running around in the country right now, but 1.3 billion large vehicles could get filled up with the oil in our strategic oil reserve, and that's a lot of oil. Okay. So historically, our reserves have been kept at, almost full capacity. Now, I'm getting ready to throw up an infographic right here on the screen that you can look at. But basically, you see over, starting even in the Trump era, there was a small dip in the oil reserves. Why some of that oil was released, I don't know. But periodically, it's released and refined and just tested, and sometimes it's actually loaned out to oil refineries who aren't getting enough oil right away from the fields, and so they tap that and say, hey, can we grab some oil out of the reserves, and then they turn around and immediately replenish that oil. So it's kind of like a trading going back and forth there. But so that's why you see slight fluctuations in the quantity of oil that's being kept for reserve. But if you look at what's happened over, the last 18 months or so, our strategic oil reserve has dropped significantly. It's at a 40-year low, and it's still plummeting because good old Joe is giving away the oil. Well, he's not giving away. He's getting his 10%, so he's selling it. But there's no end in sight. And so this is hastening the destruction of the United States. They are giving away, I keep saying giving away, they're selling all of our oil off, and there's not going to be any emergency oil supply left for the United States. And this should concern you, okay? It's there for a reason. It's there to protect our economy. It's there to protect the American people, and they're just getting rid of it deliberately. So this kind of ties in with my video I released a couple months ago that I kind of explained what's going on with the whole Great Reset and how the United States can't be a superpower. And I keep repeating this, but new people keep seeing these videos, so I need to keep repeating it. But the United States can no longer be a superpower. It's got to get out of the way in order for the elitists to get their agenda through, to pass the Great Reset, to have one world government, yada, yada, yada. And so this is just another way they're doing it. And this is just another way that they're trying to destroy our economy. And you know what? It's happening quickly. It's happening very quickly. And you need to be aware of that. Did you see what happened in the news also yesterday in California? First of all, it has been less than a week since the governor of California came out and said, we're going to ban all gas-powered vehicles by, what it was, 2035. So by 2035, of course, assuming that the United States still stands, they no longer are going to allow gas vehicles in the state of California. Now, that's quite a joke, because they want everybody to go electric vehicles. Yet, just yesterday, he comes out and says, hey, don't plug in your electric vehicles because the power grid can't handle it. We've got an energy crisis right now, and we can't, stop charging your electric vehicles. So ban all gas vehicles, and oh, by the way, stop charging your electric vehicles because we have an energy crisis. At some point, you know how, scientists, mad scientists and that sort of thing, they like to go in, they'd like to dissect, check out the human brain, and they do all these experiments and tests and kind of figure out, how it is that the brain functions and works, and how is it that all these things can happen. I'm trying to turn around in this parking lot here, just excuse me. I better pull over for a quick second. So you hear about these, right? All these experiments on the brain, and I'd like to know what's going on inside that man's head, because that's assuming he even has a brain, because something just isn't right upstairs. Something is loose, rattling around, because you can't one day ban all gas-powered vehicles in your state and then turn around and tell your folks that you want them to stop charging their electric vehicle because the power grid is failing, and not be able to connect those two dots. It just shows the mentality of what's going on. And they point fingers at us, saying we're the bad guy, we're the racist, we're the the fascist, and we're a threat to democracy. And oh my gosh, what the heck? Just what the heck? Tell me what you think down in the comments below. I really want to know what's on your mind about this one, because this is just crazy, just crazy. Hey, and I'm going to stick up another video right here that is another recent video you may have missed, so make sure you check that out. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.